Good morning, Mike King here again with Powered to Move. We have been doing a series of videos on hand cycle maintenance, and today we're going to look at how to adjust your brakes properly, which is very important because you do need to slow down to negotiate turns, and you do need to slow down and even come to a stop at the end of your ride, or maybe it's an emergency stop you need to make. So proper brake adjustment is very important. To do that, you'll need two wrenches. One is a 5mm hex wrench, that's the larger one, and a 2mm hex wrench, which is the smaller one. We're going to start with what you use the 2mm for, which is making sure your brake is spaced properly on each side of your rim. The black brake pad you see here, if you see one is wearing more than the other, you know that spacing is not adjusted properly. And that is done with the 2mm hex wrench and this set screw on the back side of your caliper brakes. If you turn it counterclockwise, it will move the brake adjustment this way. If you turn it clockwise, and it's always a bugger trying to get that wrench in, it moves it toward the other side. It moves it very little, so it might take a couple turns to really see that you're making any difference. That is the proper way to adjust the spacing between your pads to make sure they are wearing properly. And another thing is the tension on your brake. This style bike has the brake lever that you push in with your fingers, or I'm backwards on it, so I'm using my thumb. But you see it's pulling on the cable, which pinches the rim down here. And if that is not tight enough, you cannot make an emergency stop. And applying pressure to it back here with your hand is what makes sure you can't move the wheel front or back. To make sure that's adjusted properly, you have your set screw here, which after your brake is tightened up, you can adjust more tension or less tension by moving it all the way in. But in order to get that set properly in the first place, you're working with this bolt and the 5mm hex wrench. And to loosen it completely, you turn it counterclockwise. Most bolts are righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And to tighten it up, you need to make sure there's no slack in the cable. And to do that, you want to make sure your adjustment screw is in the whole way. Pull it with your finger and tighten the cable. You don't need to make it excessively tight, but just good pressure. And then you want to come back here to your lever and you push in on it. I got a little bit too much spacing there. I want to be able to just be moving it a little bit to give me some slow down breakage, or push it in tight to get it to come to an emergency stop. So I got a little bit too much tension, so I'm going to back this set screw out, which will bring my calipers closer to my rim. And you want about maybe a 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch spacing. I'm pretty good at seeing those distances with my eye, but you might need to use a small ruler. But that's about where I want it. And I come back again and check. Yes, moving this about 1/4 inch to a 1/2 an inch is giving me good contact, and if I apply hard pressure, it'll bring me to a good, safe emergency stop. That is your basic adjustment for a brake, and I hope that gives you the opportunity to keep your brakes in good working condition when you're riding hand cycle. Be safe, have fun.